Hi, welcome to TechSR. In our previous video, we have seen how to create a web API using Entity Framework core. But we have seen few issues on this, like we have written every logics on the controller itself. So we're going to move this into a separate service using a repository pattern. So if you are new to repository pattern, you can go through the video which I have attached in the description, and also you can see the cards at the top. Before starting the actual implementation, we can see what is repository pattern in short first. So let's consider this diagram. So this is a no repository pattern which we are using currently. So in controller we are written the DB context and it accesses entire DB. So there is no intermediate section. This is what we are currently using. And what is the approach we're going to use is we're going to split the DB context section into separate repository as a unit of work. So the controller will talk with unit of work and that will communicate to the entity framework core. So this will help in writing the unit test cases and also streamlining the code. I have explained about repository pattern in detail in one of my video. I have attached the link in the description and also you can see at the top. So we can start the implementation of the repository pattern to our example. We first create a services folder here to access the repositories. So we can create an add folder and name it as services, and inside that we're going to create an interface first. So we can name the interface as I customer. So I is the naming convention for the interface. So this should be customer service. Okay, now we can create a method inside this. So what's the method we're going to do? So we can copy the existing methods in the controllers. So first method is get all customers. So we can do that and we're going to return the customers as a response. So we're going to return list of customers as a response. We can include the reference, and the interface should not contain any implementation, so it should be just declared here. Okay, so now we can create an actual service here. So we can create a class customer service.cs. So this is the actual repository we're going to use, and it's going to inherit from the interface which we created. So it should throw error, so we actually need to implement the interface. So we have implemented the interface. We're going to do the same for all the methods which we have. So this is for get all customers, and next DB action is we are getting only one customer, so get customer by ID. So we can copy this and it returns the customer object. And another method is create customer, which returns the customer. And the return type needs to be customer. And next method is update customer. This also returns the customer. So the IntelliSense provided all the details there. We just need to cross check whether the function names are correct or not. Delete customer and update customer. Okay, so we have all the functions here, and the next thing is we need to implement these interfaces function. So it will throw error. We need to implement those. So now all the functions have been implemented. Next we're going to move this DB context, like we have used the DB customer context here, so we're going to move this into our repository. So first we need to declare this customer DB context. and we need a constructor here. So you can just click control dot on the name, it will show this options. You can give generate constructor. So it had created constructor for us. We can remove this here as we don't need it. Now we're going to get all customers, so I'm going to reuse this function there. So I can copy entire thing itself. So this method needs to be async since we are using await, and it's task customer. We are doing in the wrong method. I think it should be done on the get all customers. Okay, so we can copy this, let this function as it is. Maybe we will come back to this again. So we first modify the get all customers async, and its task list of customer. Now we have got all the customers list here, and we can check return the customers directly. We don't need to check null here for now. So it returns the customer object. Since we are returning a task here, in the controller also, in the interface also, we need to update this. We're going to use all the methods as async only, so we can change everything to task. So all the methods has converted to task. Okay, so now we are done with the interface. I will zoom it little bit to 150%, so it will be visible in mobiles as well. Okay, so now all the interfaces are converted to task, and we're going to convert this method. So here we're going to call the service, right? So for that we need to inject the repository which we created using a dependency injection. And we can inject it in the constructor using the dependency injection. Now we can call this method which we created dot get all customers. So this method should now return the list of customers, but we can't test this since we have removed the DB context. It will throw error for all the methods. So before testing this, we try to convert all the methods which we did now. We can perform the same action for other methods. Let's take the customer method. So next method is get customer. So we can close the solution explorer for now. This should be task. Now we can return the customer. It is showing a warning like it may be null. So either we can do the null check here, like we can just do any operation like if customer equal to null, we can perform some logging or throw any exception. but for now it is not needed for in our example, so we can return the customer directly. The same thing we're going to apply for update and create as well. So this needs to be async task update customer, so we can copy the update customer method as well. So we are having the same methods here, and we can return the customer. So instead of throwing not null, we can do, okay, we can include it here itself. Instead of throwing not null, what we can do is we can just avoid this option, or not equal to null, we can perform the update. Otherwise we can just return null like this. So we can just remove this. If it is not null, we're going to perform the entire operation. And in our controller we can check if this is null, we're going to throw an not found exception. So this is the update customer method. Get is done, and delete and create a pending. So we can do the delete first. We can do the same thing for delete as well. Just copy it. We can use the lines here, and instead of throwing it null, if it is not null, we're going to do the operation. It's not written, okay, we just return the customers. So I've written anything, and then the last method is create customer. So now we are done with the repository. We're going to implement these things in our controller. So first we change our create customer controller. What we're going to do is we're just going to call our method customer service, right? Customer service dot create customer of customer. So we can return it directly if needed, or we can assign it to a variable and return it. So whichever is convenient we can use. So for now I'm going to assign a variable and then return it. We can name a different variable here, custom create customer or whatever we can make, and we can return this. How this is a created customer, and the same we can use here. We can copy it. So instead of this we can directly call get customer, and we can pass an ID. So here we are checking like if customer is null, we are throwing an exception. So get all, get create all done. Now the next method is update. So we can do same thing. You can copy it, and instead of finder async, you can just give update customer and pass customer object here. So here we are checking like if customer is null, we are going to throw the exception. Otherwise we are going to just return it. The same applies to delete as well. Delete customer, and we're going to pass an ID. So if the customer is null, it's going to throw an error. We can remove these lines. So we are good with the implementation part. So now all the logics regarding the DB has been moved to service. Now this controller is clean with a less number of business logics. It involves only the logics related to the codes and not the external data source. So we can try to run this now. So we are with the Swagger page, so we can try to get the details. So we are getting an error like the customer service is not activated. Okay, so can we try with any other functions like get customer with ID? Okay, maybe I try to pass an ID 1 and try to execute it. Still I'm facing the same issue. This is because we have created a service but we didn't register it yet. So we can register it now in the program.cs file. So we can move to the program.cs file. In this file we need to add this. So after this Swagger we can just write builder dot services dot add scoped. So you can use transient, scoped, or whatever. Maybe I will explain it about the life cycle of this dependency injection in later videos. So for now we're going to use add scoped. So what is the service name we're going to use? It's I customer service, and it should call customer service. That's it. So now we have registered a customer service in a single line. So we can restart our application and try to execute the same thing again. So let me stop it, and now I will run it again. Now we have the application in running state, so we can try to get all the customers first. So now we are able to debug this. Maybe we can try it with the response what we are getting. So we are getting 2 customers now. It seems to be working as expected, so we can remove the debugger and see the result in this. Yes, we are getting the 2 customers, 1 and 3. We can try with the get by ID as well. So we can try to get by ID 3. Okay, so this is working fine, and we can check the same for the update method as well. So I'm going to update ID 3. So the name was Ricky Ponting, so I'm going to change this to Steve Smith. City as Sydney. So this has been updated. We can cross check it by running the same query which we used to get by ID. Yes, it is updated. Then we can use create. So we can use a new ID 5, and here we can use David Warner. Error occurred while trying to save and changes. So it seems to be inside identity is off. So what we can do is we can remove this ID for now and try to run this. Now it is created. So since we have set the ID as an auto increment, it will create an ID automatically. If we specify it manually, it will throw an error. So we have created a new user now. So we can cross check it by get all method. Yes, we have got new user. So we can delete this Ravi Kumar user by ID 1 using the drop call. So I will delete by ID 1. So the customer has deleted. We can cross check it once with the same call. Yes, it is deleted. So we are good with the process of repository pattern. So far we have seen how to create a basic web API using the .NET Core and Entity Framework Core. In our upcoming video, we can see how to add multiple tables. So you can see, right, for now we have only one table customer. So we can add few more tables and add some complex to our logic like adding a join query, limits and all. And also we can see about how to add authentication to our API. Now our API is public, so we can add some security token to our API to make it a little bit secure. So these things and all we can see in our upcoming videos. To get more useful information like this, subscribe to TechSR. Thanks for watching.